Welcome, everyone, to our latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, aka The Godfather.
I'm Christian, aka Sudobudo45.
I am Preston, aka Funkadelic Jedi.
All right. Before we get started, let's check into Preston's comment corner.
Yeah, we did it.
That.
Look at that. We're learning, everybody. We're learning. And we actually do have a comment. We do have a comment. All right, so
Even
last
better.
one. We got a YouTube comment from a lovely gentleman named Jake, aka Odin the Allfather, aka our very nice D&D DM. And he says, "Hey guys, long-time listener, first-time commenter. I was wondering if your fans could hear your opinions on the Nintendo Direct from 6/21 on the next episode. Any announcements excite you guys? Anything you really didn't like? Thanks." Did you watch it, both of you?
I can go.
Yeah, we all
what
did.
excited me? Super Mario RPG Remake
Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good.
and the new 2D Mario, although I'm not a big fan of Elephant Mario.
I know you didn't like that.
I wish they could take that away. But in general, I thought that game looked cool. What I didn't like, everything else that I didn't mention, and there's some things were fine. It was not a good direct though. Like you could have
I don't think it was that.
released that as a video. You didn't have to do it live. You didn't have to do anything. You just been like, hey, here's some announcements that are coming. Bam, 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 bam. Here's a bunch of trailers. Go nuts, and then be done. There was not enough there that I think it warranted like fucking sending out.
Just letting you
email
know what's
reminders
happening at
and
all this
anything.
year. That's kind of like what they do every time this year. It's like, hey, here's all the things coming out at the end of the year. We're not talking about next year. This is what to look
Well, some of
forward
that
to.
was next year. Some of that was not like. Some of those I don't think were hitting this year.
Oh, I thought
Some
there
of
was
that
all
Yeah, I
supposed to be
mean
this year.
there was no news on Luigi's Mansion remake as far as like date. There was nothing on the Peach game
No, they
at
had
all.
DLC
or
for
yeah,
the
stuff
new
coming
Luigi's
soon.
Mansion. Yeah.
Right? Like there was a lot of stuff that was coming. Just well, not a lot, but there was definitely stuff coming next year.
Yeah.
That was
Also,
this year.
like,
Not Metroid.
Yeah, not Metroid. Metroid is dead. I've
Cease to
convinced-
talk about it.
I'm convinced that the current state of Metroid Prime 4 is somebody has moved the mouse over the cancel button and has pressed it, but has not depressed it yet to like actually confirm the click.
They haven't emptied the recycling bin. It's still in there. It's still in the
Yeah,
trash, but
and
no
so
one's
they're
emptied it
holding
yet.
the cancel button, and people have to keep a shift of somebody coming over to take over that person's pressure on the mouse so that they don't accidentally unclick it just yet. They're not willing to cancel it just yet, but boy, the
All
threat
but.
is
Yeah.
there all day. What's funny is that I am truly of the opinion that Metroid Dread is what killed Metroid Prime 4. Like,
Possible.
Metroid Dread came out and is arguably one of the best Metroid games to come out in. I mean, not. It is the best Metroid game to come out in recent memory, but in general, it is up there in the discussion of like.
Past decade?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
past decade.
Like it, but it's at bare minimum. It is in the discussion of a top 5, top 10
of
Metroid
Metroid
Like,
games?
It is
for
up
sure.
there.
Mhm. Yep.
And I think it made a lot of people at Rare look at, they're not
Oh.
Rare, whatever you know what I'm talking
The
about.
studio making it, yeah.
Yes,
I don't
just
remember who
blanking,
was
but
making it, yeah.
whoever it is, it made them look at themselves and be like, oh, we might need to go back to the drawing board here, because we weren't expecting people to like this much, but we don't got anything near that level of quality that's going on down there. So
Yeah.
and yeah, who knows? I don't know if they're going to be able to get it done, but that's my opinion on the direct.
Fair. You got a comment, Alex?
Yeah. It was not good. I'm glad to hear you say you didn't love it, because I thought I was gonna be like always the negative Nancy, and you guys are gonna be like, well, I mean, it wasn't that like it to me wasn't good. There was stuff that was fine. I'm excited about the Luigi Mansion remake because I love Luigi's Mansion series and I never played that original game.
Yeah.
So like, cool, right? I'm super excited about that. The Star Ocean 2 looked fine.
It looked great.
Yeah, the tactics and stuff,
But
but like,
game that's already been out, right? Like I don't think Star Ocean
Has
2
it?
is a new game.
well, no, it's not. So what I was gonna say is like there are some things that looked fine. There was nothing in that entire thing that was a day one for me. And I was just looking through the comments because I was looking up what was released, just looking through the comments and stuff too, because I forgot everything that was announced. And somebody on this comment said 9 out of 10 Direct for me had Nintendo the strongest showing of all the big three. And the first comment was, Nintendo just announced a port of a 22-year-old PlayStation game, a port of a 14-year-old game, and a remake of a 27-year-old game. And you think that's the best of the three. But like, with all the decent ones, because like I'm down with a new side-scrolling Mario or a new 2D Mario. I'm totally down with the Mario RPG. But like, then there were games like Manic Mechanic, which is literally like every Facebook game you've ever seen an ad for.
Yeah.
I
Right?
will say
Or
the Pigeon Music Battle Royale, I am at least tentatively interested.
Sure,
in what
that looked goofy
game
and fun.
is.
And
That
the
looked
WarioWare
super-
one will probably be fun too. That might be a game
Yeah.
flyer for me, but I don't know.
like
It's
there was that Fae Farm sim and like that RPG
yeah,
that
that looked like
was
some Zanga
that,
ass shit.
that RPG that was a roguelike. And then
Yeah.
even Dance Dance Revolution, like I'm not, or Just Dance, sorry, not DDR, but Just Dance. How is that going to work with just the hand thingies?
It's that
Work like that.
HD
They had it
shit,
on the Wii
man.
before.
I don't. Yeah, I don't
Dude,
get it.
that's
So,
where it sells the most copies.
as far as
Everybody
selling,
has
I
a
understand.
Nintendo. Yeah.
Yeah.
But beyond like the Star Ocean 2 remake, beyond the Luigi remake, they announced like the collection of Batman Arkham, like okay,
Which
and
is
they
the
announced
most like
collection.
I do not ever want to see that collection ever again. Like we have it in different places. I don't want it on the Switch. And like why?
Even
Who
for collections
fucking
that are
cares?
good, like the Metal Gear collection is
Yeah, the
good.
Metal Gear collection.
Sure,
Mhm.
that's
It is
surprising.
It is a great collection. It is still a bunch of games that you can go play today.
Right
So,
now.
like you don't
Yeah,
have
different
to do
system.
The-
Yeah.
There was so little to me that was like a day one game.
Yep. Nothing.
Nothing
There's-
nothing stood out.
I can
Nothing
just
stood
tell
out.
you, there's nothing on there that's a day one game. Like
No.
even something like I'm very excited about a Super Mario RPG remake, but like I can go, like I'll be okay if I don't
Yeah.
play that right away whenever that comes out.
The game that looked the most fun to me beyond Star Ocean or Super Mario was the Hot Wheels game because I know Hot Wheels game is good,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
And that was
cool.
it. But like beyond that, I didn't care about the Dragon Quest monsters because like I never played Dragon Quest, so I don't really care that much. I'm not invested in the franchise, and there are other monster-like games. So unless you're all of a sudden going to do something groundbreaking, which I bet you're not, I just
I've heard from people that the first Dragon Quest Monsters game fucking rules. I've never played it, but I've heard it's really really good. So I'm at least I'm at least interested. But yeah,
I would
still-
rate that Direct personally for me a solid 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
I
I
would
was
say
gonna say like a
5,
2.53 out of
yeah.
5. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would say the one last thing I would like to say about this fucking Direct is you're gonna come up in here and give me more Mario Kart fucking characters, like fucking Wiggle or Wiggly, whatever the fuck his name is, but you're not gonna put Funky Kong in there. I'm tired of all this goddamn Funky Kong slander and like leaving him out of shit. Like we'll talk about this in my week, but I watched the Mario movie. No Funky Kong. All these fucking Kongs in there, but no goddamn Funky Kong. What are you doing, my boy?
Can I just say, the fact this is how down bad F-Zero fans are, that you don't even bother getting mad that you don't have an F-Zero game when they're sitting over here schlepping more Mario Kart shit. You're just like, no, I've accepted that I'll never see another one in my lifetime. I'm more mad that Funky Kong is not in this game.
Which is
all
funny
of it.
too, because there were a ton of people that were like Diddy Kong and blah 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 blah. Like you are the only human out of everyone in that
He's the
chat
coolest.
that said anything about Funky Kong.
Out of
You do love
everybody
Funky
of the Kongs, he is the coolest Kong. Yeah?
I'll take your word for it.
Got another Kong you
I
think is
don't,
cooler?
honestly, this is one of those times where I think more people should be comfortable just saying that you don't have an opinion on a matter because
Don't have something nice to say. Don't say it at all.
No, not that. I just don't. I'm a solid fan of every Kong, and I'm not. I don't. They're all great, but I don't have a particular fondness towards.
They're not all great. They are not. They're really not.
Although I will say that I think, you know, as long as we can all agree that King Kong comes in second to Godzilla, then that's fine. I think we're good.
Don't know how that does with Kongs.
There's no
as far as
reason
like
for that
Nintendo
tie-in.
Kongs, but okay, sure.
There's no reason for that tie-in.
I love that you're like, I don't know where that tie-in come from. Knowing
Kong.
full well that Kong is in the
Yeah.
name, but that's fine. Also, really, Retro Studios is the one that does.
That's
is
right.
Doing Metroid. Yes,
That's right, yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go, Jake. There you have
Comic
it. Not great.
Thanks for the comment,
Not
Jake.
great.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. It was not good. I would like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
You know,
Comment
Jake.
below
Yeah,
your
I'd
thoughts.
love to know.
Or just text us.
Yeah,
it's
if
fine.
you think it was better. If so, I'm gonna feel like a big a-hole. But it was not great. Yeah. So all right. Well, let's get into our weeks.
Yes.
Who wants to start? Who wants to kick things off this week?
I can go.
Okay.
So, played. You know, obviously, the games we've been playing together between the Street Fighters and so all that's still the same. There was doubt that I was going to be able to finish Trails of Cold Steel 2 before Final Fantasy 16 launched.
Who was doubting you?
Is that today or is that tomorrow?
Everybody
That was
doubted
today,
me,
wasn't it?
Preston. Everybody was doubting
No
me.
one was doubting you. I don't
All
think
my
I've never
haters-
heard anyone doubt
All
you.
my haters were doubting me.
I did not hear anyone doubt you either. To be fair,
Everybody.
So
Everybody.
was doubting me.
that's quite a statement. That's quite a statement.
It's on the Reddit forum he's on.
I did it. I
Yay.
did finish it. The hilarious thing is, so I texted you guys about 10:30. I sent a gift saying like mission accomplished. Thank you, Preston.
You're welcome.
I sent a gift saying mission accomplished, and I was like I fucking did it. I cannot believe that I brought this in onto the fucking wire, but here it goes. And I don't know how to say like I ended up being up until almost 2 a.m. because the game wasn't done. I had a 5-phase boss fight and what I can only describe as like an anime ending, like cutscene, like music video. And the game then looks at you and goes, JK, there's 2 more chapters. And I don't care. I don't care
You're going to be up tonight.
that you think you're done.
Yeah.
I don't care that that you think there's no more story and that we left you on this kind of cliffhanger. No, you're not done. And not only that, but we are now going to be bridging between 2 different series at this point, and we don't care. I don't care that you think that, like, it was the most bad shit thing I've ever seen. This game, they just look at you and they're like, you're the one who bought the game, so buckle in. You're not done. We're not.
You've gone
letting you
this
off.
far. You know what's up.
And so I ended up finishing. I did still finish it, but by the time 2 a.m. hit, I literally, when the credits and I finally saw the Steam achievement thing on the side being like, finish the game, I was like, fantastic. I turned my computer. I was like, I'm going to bed. Like, I cannot believe. So, that is to say, it was just incredible. Once again, same thing I've said before, just more information getting dropped at you that you're just like, wasn't even a thought in my head about where this could go. But here we are. So, and I just can't recommend it enough. It's very, very good. So I'm obviously taking a break now, between me starting up Trails of Cold Steel 3 to play some other stuff that has came out. And one of those games is Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
Nice.
Guys, that is a good game.
Did that come
so
out
far.
today?
Came out last night at midnight.
Last night I made it.
I didn't know if it was
came out
tonight
today.
at midnight or last night. Yeah.
Yeah, last night at midnight.
So today.
So I've only played up until I think I'm still technically in the prologue. I'm
Did
not
you
gonna say-
do the trial? Like the
What do you mean?
demo?
Is that what you're asking me? Did I play the demo?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
knew I was going to play it, so I'm like, well, I don't.
Sure. Yeah, I just wondered
And it's
because
like
I know they
the
said your
chunk
progress
game.
carried over, so I didn't know if you had done that and you were doing this prologue or okay.
No, because to my knowledge, the demo is just the prologue, so you would just be
Yeah.
able to skip that going forward. No, I did not play it. I knew I was gonna like. It was an instant. I'm playing
Same.
this game whether or not it's bad because I gotta know. So I'm gonna play it. Plus, Yoshi P did it. Like,
I mean-
he's a part of it. I'm not.
There's no red flags right now, so yeah.
Well, not even just that, but it's just like if you're telling me that the Heavensward team is writing it, X Devil May Cry people are doing the combat, and Yoshi P is producing it, then even if that game ends up being complete garbage, I'm still going to show. Like, I'm still going to go check it out. At the very least, I gotta know. I'm very happy so far, though, that has not been the case. But man, very early on, after it's honestly still in the middle of the first mission, where you get to buy some extra moves, and boy, it is immediately apparent that the people who worked on Devil May Cry did the comment for this
Oh,
game.
really?
It is the first skill that you can buy on the right side is Dante's Stinger, like jab, like dude, and he does the motion, like he goes forward with just one arm, like it's the whole thing. Like it is. I saw it and I was like, oh okay, well, it's clearly these guys, like they know, so that's what we're doing.
Do you think people are going to love that being fresh to the series, or do you think they're going to feel like it's a little
too different?
A little not yet different, or maybe dated, or maybe not dated, or like just not original enough? Like, how do you think the audience at
I think
large
for
is going to
people who
take
are
it?
fresh to it, they'll like it because it's not. They won't know anything else. Like if this is your first Final Fantasy game, you're just like, okay, cool. Like,
Sure,
it's an action RPG, and those have been like, you know what I mean, like, you know, in between like stuff like Dragon's Dogma or any of the Souls games or anything like that. People are used to action RPGs now, so it's not, you know, I don't think it's that crazy. I think just like always, you'll have like Final Fantasy purists that are probably bummed, but I don't know, man. Like, it's not like there aren't many turn-based RPGs to go
right
today. Like,
yeah,
they're everywhere. So if turn-based combat is really where you're at, and you're like, I don't want to play a game unless it has turn-based combat, great news. There are so many to go play.
You got your options.
Yeah.
In turn-based, that'd be a weird hill to die on for this franchise though, because they kind of moved away
recently
from the direct turn-based quite a while ago.
Yeah, like it's been all over the place. Like they tried doing the ATB stuff, they tried doing like weird hybrids, they tried doing full act, like it's or half. They did 12, which is like weird, like robot AI combat. Like there's, they tried new stuff all the time. It's not like it's a new thing that they've done. But all I'm saying is that if you're going to take action combat from somewhere, you can do a whole hell of a lot worse than choosing Devil May Cry 5. So
yeah,
I'm good. Like they even have the enemy hopper move, like where you can bounce off the enemy's head to like keep jumping and like, get a double jump and keep fighting in the air.
Yeah,
like they have that. Like it's like, dude, this is like the craziest. Like I'm here for it all day. So far that's been very good. Way too early to say, but it continues to be great. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it as far as video games. Yeah, and Alex and I are
Nice.
gonna do the raid soon.
Yeah.
Yes, nice.
Yeah. I'm
14
a
raid.
step ahead. I was a step behind. Now I'm a step ahead.
That's okay though.
So
That's all right.
I
It was
I
an
caught up.
accident. I believe you.
Yeah, yeah. I played what I hit 50 on Diablo and was like, sweet, let's bump it up to World Tier 3 and start knocking out some of these dungeons, side stuff. And then it was like, yeah, you need to finish the story. And I was like, well, that's a problem. So can't do that. Um, so I turned that off, turned on Final Fantasy 14, got my shiny new weapon. So very excited about that. Did unlocked the normal raid and then was like, you know what? I need a few marks for my shiny weapon, so let's just like put myself in the queue. And what would be the shortest would be trial. So did trial, and it was like, okay, you're still short. And I was like, all right, well, what's the next shortest? Normal raid, and it put me in the first
part
of
yeah.
those raids that we just unlocked. I was like, oh, of course it did. Of course it would. So I did just the one and stopped, and then after I caught that up, I started. Yeah, it was very cool. It was very cool. What comes? I don't know what comes like next necessarily, but like where you're standing and what you see after. It was like next one's gonna be good. So excited to do those. I did a little botany stuff because I was like, what can I do? Just running around here.
Yeah.
So I got a few levels on my botanist and then logged off. And then I think that's all I've really played, other than the game that we're gonna finish up talking about today, Inside. I did the second half of that. I beat that game, but I think that's all I've really played. Been playing Diablo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
What are you
I
pressing?
kind of same with these guys, doing the usuals. We haven't played any real Street Fighter this past week, but I'm kind of looking to get into that too. Again, me and Christian have been saying it over and over again. We really want to get into the World Tour. It's just, it seems like a lot that I kind of want to focus on, and right now there's a lot of games out.
Apparently, it's 50 hours.
Jesus
long.
fucking Christ. Okay.
Their campaign mode is 50 hours long.
So I'll do that
Why?
later.
Yeah,
Why?
because it's a Yakuza game.
Yeah, because fucking Yakuza. With your created character. For Street Fighter World. Yeah.
So you're actually like you're not just going from match to match. You're actually
You're walking around a town, the city,
Alex,
yes.
it is a full. When I said it was a Yakuza game, I wasn't being facetious. It is a Yakuza game. You are running up into like you're running around, doing errands, doing quests. There's like a guy who will come up to you and go like, "Oh, dude, there's a guy who is blocking the bus stop. I will give you $200 to go get him away from the bus stop so I can get to work." And you run up, and then some dude's like, you go and try to talk to him, and he's like, yeah, I'm blocking the bus stop, but like, what are you gonna do about it? And then you have a choice to like, be like, I'm gonna move you by force and then punch him, or just be like, back away and I'll come back at this later. You fight him, and then when you beat him, you're like, I'm trying to. He's like, you'll never, like, I'll keep coming back here. You're never gonna defeat me. I'm gonna keep trying until people are able to secure their spot on the bus. I'm trying to protect people so they can get on the bus. And then you're like, no, dude, nobody's coming to line up for this bus because they're terrified of you because you have like a cardboard box over your head with holes cut out and all this other stuff. He's like, oh, that makes more sense. I've been waiting here for a long time. Like, I gotta go apologize to everybody. I'll just leave so people can get on the bus now. Like, it's dumb shit like that. Like, it is. There's quests from that to like full on like real story things about you going through like the city and going through all
different
the
characters in Street Fighter, learning their moves, you're getting trained by them.
Trying to teach Ryu how to use emojis on his phone. Like, it is like, I'm dead serious. It is a Yakuza game. Like, there are people who are going to buy that are currently one of the biggest selling points of Street Fighter is this World Tour mode because, and there are people, they are like, I would hazard a guess probably 40 to 50% of people who are buying Street Fighter are buying it just for everything that's not versus mode. Like, they're like, I want to play old classic games. I want to play this dumb, stupid story. I want to make like fun, creative characters, and I want to do all of the weird extra modes where like I can play and like jump around an arena and have to worry about a bull coming through or some crazy stuff like that. That where that's all they do, and they don't actually like press the button that says ranked match. Like, they just skip it completely. There is so much here. Like, it is insane, but it is like straight up, it is a Yakuza game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot to dump in.
That's not even scratching the surface of like ranked and battle pass and all that kind of shit you can do in the multiplayer.
Is all this stuff, is it voice acted? Like, is your creative character voice acted?
All characters, I'm pretty sure, are voice acted for the most part.
The creative character is not.
Oh, sorry, the creative character is no, yeah.
But yes, but then it's similar to a Yakuza game. Every big name character fully voiced. Side characters, you're just getting a speech bubble. But it's,
Gotcha.
I mean, like they literally, I don't know if they like went and asked somebody at Sega to like come help them do, but like I'm dead serious.
Even the look of it and you running around, it's very like, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm walking around like a dragon. Yeah.
Yes, that is what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where the old head of RGG went over to Capcom, made Street Fighter.
Maybe I don't know, but whoever. All I'm saying is that me personally, and where my taste is at, especially like now, I think there is. I can't imagine a better story mode in a fighting game ever coming out. You're gonna have to try very hard to top this. Like it is so wacky and goofy and fun, but like the fact that it's basically a Yakuza game is like, oh, okay, I'm fine. This should be the de facto standard for all fighting games going forward. Like this is what it should be.
Yeah,
and if
goofy dumb stuff.
And if you can't do that, then I don't think you should have a story mode.
Yeah,
because it's not worth it.
Excited to see what Mortal Kombat does this year. Because I'm sitting here, I'm like,
yeah,
am I just going to gamefly Mortal Kombat? Out of all the years that I've been the Mortal Kombat guy, the NetherRealm guy, Injustice guy,
you
like,
are a Mortal Kombat guy too.
I might just gamefly Mortal Kombat, and if it doesn't hold me, I'm just send that shit back to gamefly because Street Fighter has it more in for me. I just gotta learn how to defeat Christian. And I can feel better about myself. Pushing that shit in. But yeah, other than that, more D4, just going through acts with people who need to go through them, or if I need to go through them, someone will help me. We kind of been doing that. Charade, we got our mount. We finally got the mount, so when we go through this next sections, we will be able to tally ho and fuck on going on our goddamn mount.
They really spread out Act 3. Like, they had you going all over the place.
Also, the whole walk through the fucking desert, that escort mission kind of deal, just fucking was just so tedious, especially when it's me and Christian, and we're thinking that we're at the end of it, and we're sitting here, like, at our last leg of the night, being like, okay, well, we just want to finish it, we just want to get to the spot, and where he's like having us walk through, he's like, I just want to stop here and have a drink and take the rope off my horse for 5 fucking minutes and then put it back on for 5 fucking minutes. I'm like, my dude, let's go. We gotta go to bed soon. Like we need to finish this act.
Like you're just like just like, yeah,
it's a lot.
I don't know.
Would you guys rather have the old school version of Diablo, so like the separated acts without the open world? Would you rather have a story like that again for D4 where it was shorter and easier to run through, or would you rather have all of these open world dungeons to run through as like a way to earn your Paragon levels? Because to me, honestly,
is shorter than D3 so far, from what I'm seeing. The pacing,
the story might be, but I'm talking about actually like the way you cap. Before you would run through the game over and over and over and over, but here you're doing all these dungeons. But to me, they've included so many. There's like 120 something dungeons. Like they've included so many that it actually seems more. It seems more daunting, and I'm like less eager to do it than I would be just to run the story over and over.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, yeah, my current feeling on it is that I think, and not to get, because this could be its own topic, so we don't need to like get too far into the weeds on it, but like I think the live service stuff they're doing around this game is not only poisoning the game, but it is actively making it so that if they continue on this path, I don't think that there will be any sort of even close to something that you could call a community around this game at all.
Yeah.
Period. Like,
yeah.
Because right now their plan is, and you shared this story just beforehand, Alex, but that every season you have to create a new character. You will not be able to go and run through the battle pass on a character you've already created. So you have to do the new seasonal stuff.
Which makes me wonder, because the original idea was they were resetting all the dungeons, resetting the altars of Lilith, resetting all that stuff. You had to do it again. Is that what you're doing with your character? And are you going to start at 50 and just go
So,
up from there to get Paragon? Or are you starting at 0? Like, how are they going to balance
Right.
that?
yeah, so here's the thing. So from what I understand, from what they've talked about so far, is that you will, when you start a new character, I honestly, I don't know about what your starting level is. I do know that you do have the ability to skip the story. So if you finished it, when you go to create a new character, it
Mhm.
will ask you if you want to skip the story and just be able to go straight into fully unlocked, open
Map
world and do your
open.
thing.
Yeah.
My suspicion is that you will not level up immediately to level 50 upon skipping the story, because you can finish the story and be below level 50.
Right.
So I don't think they're going to do that. Number one. Two, they are resetting for the seasonal grind. Now, I should say, in past Diablos, in 2 and 3, the seasons were always separated by, it was story progression, it was just character progression in general, but you did have to start a new character every single time that you started up a season. That's not new. However, the difference is something that you mentioned, Alex, which is the old grind is doing the story again, going through, but you still have all of the, like, the whole point is to go through the story again, run through the story, get your
Yeah.
build up, and then by achieving certain things throughout the campaign, you then got all of the cosmetic rewards for that season. That's it. And then you can go and play your other characters again. Like, you can do whatever, but it didn't limit you. But it was just, hey, if you want the cosmetics, re-roll a new character, run through the campaign, do the things that we're
Mhm.
asking you to do, and you'll be good. But the campaign was the thing. Like, there wasn't any extra grinds to go do. It was, hey,
Right.
go through the campaign, and you're gonna have some fun modifiers this time to keep it fresh. So, like, different mobs are gonna spawn, different things are going to hit. There's going to be extra modifiers on certain bosses or certain fun things that'll happen to keep it sort of interesting, to keep you on your toes, and blah blah blah. That's the point. This problem is that they're completely being like, nah, you can skip the campaign again if you want, nothing's going to change, it's fine. But what we are going to do is make you grind your renown, and that is going to be what your currency is, essentially, for your experience to go along the battle pass to unlock all of this shit. The problem is that what you're going to end up doing is the same side quests that you just did, the same dungeons that you just did, the same altars of Lilith that you unlocked already. Everything is going to be completely reset, and the only thing that will carry over from your last playthrough, or from your account in general,
Yeah.
is the map will be fully uncovered. If you've uncovered it. Whatever you have uncovered will remain uncovered. So, thanks, but, like, that's not, like, my idea of fun is not doing the same things over again with nothing added. Like, it's just the same shit. Like, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they're going to do something they just haven't talked about it yet. I mean, I don't think so. I think they've been very abundantly clear with what they're going to do, but I don't know. It sucks because, like, as somebody who really likes Diablo, like, as a concept, I have been really, really let down by this game in more ways than
Yeah.
one. Like,
You don't necessarily hate the combat of the game. Like the gameplay
no, I
itself is
think the
not bad to
mechanics
you.
is fine. I think the combat is fine. I know there's a lot of people who are, like,
The pacing's
mad at
off.
how simple the combat is. I will say that I think it was a mistake to make all the classes play the same, where it's just the builder spender. So, like, you have a skill that builds a bar, and then you have fun
Mhm.
skills that spend it, and then you build it back up, and then you spend it. I do think making it so that not all classes worked like that would be a better idea for the longevity of the game. Like Diablo 2, like, none of the classes play the same. They couldn't be more
Completely
different.
different. Yeah.
And I think that Diablo 3 is where it started doing the builder spender thing. Um, I don't necessarily hate it. Like it's fine. I'm not like. It's just I don't think it was probably a good idea, but it doesn't. It's not like aggravating to me in any way.
It's I think classes could be aggravating to you. Like Necromancer would drive you crazy. At least the build that I have. So like my leveling build, which is like all these minions, I don't even worry about spending what I've built up. So like I run in and I cast one spell that I think might use a little bit of mana, but it essentially shoots out tentacles and gathers everybody together.
Yeah.
And then I use R1, which is corpse explosion, because
Yeah.
by the time you whip one in, like my minions, we would have killed one. So I corpse explode, and that one will explode one or two more and two more, and I just hammer corpse explosion, and it never spends mana. There are rare times, like I'll wait, I'll usually kill most like normal bar enemy, like even elites, like normal bar elites. I'll kill with that corpse explosion because they'll have so many people with them.
Yeah.
It's not until I get to a boss where I might, like, after all that's done, shoot out a couple of my, like, frost spikes or whatever that actually spend my bar. But, like, it's rare that I even spend that bar until I get to a big boss.
That's why I like Barbarian so much, is because it tries to get away from. There's like a couple instant kill spells that I can do that will refresh their counter if I get the kill with it and can go through. But then very similar to you, as soon as I'm on a single target boss, it's like, okay, I have to build and spend, build and spend, build and spend, build and spend.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure I'm not trying to like downplay how people feel, because I get it. Like I'm sure, especially if there's like a class that you really really are in love with. My class just isn't in the game, so I can't get that mad about it yet. But yeah, from my point of view, it's the live service stuff that has been really pissing me off, and then story has just been like the
It's
most
been meh.
bland, generic plot.
Nothing's
that
really
I-
happening. We're getting
No-
story
nothing
after
is
it's
really
happened every
happening.
time,
And-
pretty much.
And I will say, I think this is just me probably being spoiled, but like, I think it is a fucking shame that we have only had a single high res cinematic.
Yeah.
That's
For
it.
for a Blizzard game, you should be getting one of those for each chapter.
Have we only had one? Was that the beginning? We had one since
No,
at
it's
the
been
end
all
of
in
Act.
game.
It's just the first one when Lilith gets introduced, like when she gets summoned into the world and that priest does his whole thing. The trailer essentially,
Yeah.
they put it in the
Yeah.
game, but that's it. There is nothing. There is not a single other cinematic that's like that in the game, and
The
Bull-
end of Act 2 would have been really good to have a
Any
high-res
of-
cinematic. Yeah.
Any of them, yeah.
it would have been a good place to have a cinematic during, like when you go and meet. I don't know how much we want to spoil, but like when you go and meet certain characters, anything like
Sure.
for the first time, all of it. Like you know, the first time you go to meet Anarius and you're trying to go get his blessing, and he comes down from the fucking ceiling, and you see his. Would have been a great time for a cinematic. When he is fighting with his son, and there's a whole and Lilith fucking finds her son's body and all that other stuff. Great time for a cinematic, and you could have picked any moment, and it probably would have been good for a cinematic. But they started doing this, like Diablo 3, at least at the end of every act.
You got your
There
reward.
would be one.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
it's been on a decline ever since. Like D2 was beginning and end, beginning and end, beginning and end, beginning and end, and then Diablo 3 was okay. Well, we're only going to do the ends, but in the beginning you'll have this weird little artsy fucking, and in between it'll be these little slideshow, like coloring book things that'll come up, and those will be kind of cool, whatever. But at the end of every act, you're still going to get one. This one is, hey, we put the trailer as part of the intro.
Which means we'll probably have one at the very end of the game.
Maybe.
That would
Maybe.
be about it.
Maybe.
Maybe, but honestly,
The way it's going right now, I don't think so.
I'm at the point where I don't
Yeah.
think we're gonna get one. And so it's that, and it's like all this other stuff, like all the live.
You'll
service
get one
shit
for
around
big
it.
DLC drops for like maybe to like show it, but it's gonna be
Yeah,
again, it's gonna be the
whatever
trailer
expansion,
for
man.
it that you get, and they're just gonna be like that's one we gave you.
I don't know, man. It's just such a bummer to me, and like,
It's fine.
You know.
I'm enjoying playing with you guys.
Yeah, but
I
like
don't know how much I'm gonna do after that, though. To be honest.
that's what I mean. Is like I'm cool. Like I'm having fun as far as the story is concerned. But as soon as the story's not there, if the season really is how people say it is, I guarantee you, people will show up for this first season because not a lot of people will have went and done the renown. Like I'm not going to go do it because there's no point in me to burn myself out now
Yeah.
to go do any of the quests or anything
And you
when
got plenty of things to play.
well, that is my own personal problem. But yes,
That's been everybody's problem this year. Every gamer I
know,
talk to,
like you say,
every
like-
friend that I have at games is like, just so many fun games.
but it's just yeah, I don't know. It's very frustrating to because I think with the live service stuff they've added to it, it is going to it is going to kill that game if they don't. I don't even understand why it would be so hard to have people go through the first time without the season there and go, hey, if you want to get some renown to get your Paragon points, go do all the dungeons, go do all the side quests, go find all the altars, blah, blah, blah. Do everything there is to do. That'll stay completed. Then what you'll do for seasons is the same thing we've always done for seasons, and you can still do the same thing is run through the story, but we'll unlock, we'll let you start at World Tier 3 right immediately, right? So it'll be a little tougher, but you'll get way more experience.
New
It'll be a
items.
challenge, blah, blah, blah. And while we're doing that, there's going to be weird little modifiers throughout there's going to be random, wandering elites, and there's going to be like, different modifiers with different bosses, or like Alex and I were spitballing one morning and we were like, what if they just did a thing where like one season was like boss swap, right? Where you're like, oh, instead of fighting, like whatever the first jobber was, like Uber Lilith is right there or something like that.
Different
And
boss,
you're like,
new drops. Yeah.
yeah, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, like I'm just fighting her right in the beginning, right? Like, and you can sit there and do it and do your thing, and like there's so many fun things that you could have done. And then, hey, guess what? If for whatever reason people report back to you and go, hey, we really hated the boss swap stuff, it wasn't fun. Great, guess what? It was just part of a season. It's never going to come back again. So season 2 is going to be something completely different. Season 3 will be something completely different after that. Yada yada yada, as it goes. But I think there is just no way that some like people sat around the room and looked at everybody and said like, people will think running the same content with no changes and everything being the same is going to be fun. Like who? I don't understand. Like what focus test did you do that told you people would be like, yeah, I'd love that.
And then I get a hat for
Yeah.
doing 5 things that you need me to do.
And I think it's like random stuff too. Like if you wanted to say, hey, the dungeons reset, run them again. I mean, the dungeons are procedurally generated, so okay, it's a different experience, right? But like all the Lilith altars, like why? Like it's just running to the same spots over and over again. Like pretty soon after 3 seasons, you're gonna people know where they all are. There's gonna be like, boop, boop,
You're gonna
boop,
take your
boop,
horse
boop,
and
boop,
go
boop,
on
boop.
1 day run. Just go. Blah, 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 I got
Yeah,
all.
like why?
Because it's busy work, because it
Yeah.
keeps you in like that's
No
but
fun.
that's the thing. And you know what, and this I think really highlights the point here is that I think it just shows one, joke's on me, because I should not have had I started with my hopes in the gutter and then I got my hopes up for no reason and I should have known better. But 2, I think it perfectly outlines where Blizzard is at as a company, especially when you look at the breadth of their other work right now.
The
Like
current
Yeah.
roster.
their game design philosophy is try to find a way to keep people hooked into these worlds for as long as possible while having the littlest amount of fun, but just enough. We'll pack just enough of the things they like to make it so that they will feel this urge to come and play.
Mhm.
Because where else they gonna get? Where else are you gonna get this? Where else are you gonna get that? Like you can't go find it elsewhere. So you either have to get on board and deal with it, or just forget that it exists. And I don't know, man. Like, meanwhile, you have Street Fighter 6 over here who added a battle pass, and everybody was so worried. And then they're like doing dumb shit where it's like, oh, don't worry, you just playing the game, no matter whether or not you win or lose, or people thumbs up you at the end or not, whatever, you'll still get like experience going towards the battle pass, so you'll still unlock stuff. It's no big deal. But
Yeah.
if you go into the battle hub and you run around, we actually added this week a fun little like Willy Wonka reference where randomly you'll see some arcade cabinets that are sparkling gold, and you'll have found the golden arcade cabinet, and you'll get quadruple the amount of Kudo experience if you sit at that and play with people. And it's like, I it's not hard. It's not like these problems aren't solved. It is the games as a service, for as much as I hate them, have been solved. You can just you can keep people in the environments that you've built, in the worlds that you've built, and do it in a fun way that makes it so that people don't feel gross or bad
That's
while they do it.
been done before. Like you don't have to
Yeah.
rewrite the fucking game for this.
Like I haven't played 14 in a little while. Like ever
But
since I last played it.
You fucking scorched earth on that fucking game. Like you've done most of it.
But even outside of that, Alex knows we've both thought about this before, because there's times where he hasn't played for a little while. Like outside of logging in to go get caught up, it had been almost a month, if not longer, that you had played, right, Alex?
And content.
Longer, because I got the Sprout message when I popped back in and said, "Hey, would you like the
Even so, it's been probably
guide
2 or 3.
That's yeah." I think it's 2 or 3 months.
So-
So they're like, "Hey, you haven't been here in a while. Would you like the assistance and the bonus XP when you come back in?"
Yes, I would. But no, but in that time period, did you once ever feel like, ugh, I gotta get back, like I'm gonna miss out on like any of that? The FOMO's not there, because the game
Nope.
knows. It's like, it's okay. You have to go live a life. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Nothing's gonna happen. And like, I can't for the life of me figure it out. I don't know why you would want to do it like this. And they should have like the last live stream they did. This is the last thing I'll say on it. The last live stream they did, they had the chat up on the side, and the guy was reading the chat like for the comments. And so when they explained how they were gonna do this most recent or this coming season, the chat exploded with people just basically spamming L over and over and over again, or why would you do this? Nobody wants this. Who asked for this? No one. The best comment I saw is somebody being like, guys, it's not that bad. If that is the best that somebody can come to your defense, I think you need to really take a look at what your roadmap is and go like, okay, clearly we missed the mark.
Mhm.
What can we do to fix it? Because right now, I don't see it. I don't get it. Completely blown my mind.
Fair.
That's crazy. Yeah, that would be so embarrassing. Like to be in a
They should've
live stream
ignored it, dude.
as a dev.
They just,
Yeah.
they just kept going. Because I mean, like,
They're going to be the way they're going to be. I'm not going to ignore it. Like, no, it's really bad. You should probably pay
But
attention a little bit.
and I know, and I do feel bad in some respects, because I know that as a developer who you've been getting, especially probably at Blizzard, you've been getting crunched to death and all this other stuff. I'm positive that your mental health is not where you would want it to be. And seeing a wall of text basically being like, I fucking hate you, is probably not the best. But so I do feel bad for them, but you can only feel so bad when then after that there's articles that are coming out of them doubling down, tripling down. And I'm like, just don't say anything. Like, just say it the one time, and then if, maybe people forget about it, maybe they won't, but you keep coming out and being like, guys, we hear you that you're not excited to do this, but we really think you should just give it a shot first. And
That's the Destiny MO. That's what they did for so long.
Yeah, and look how it worked out. It took them to where they had to go and beg people to play Witch Queen, to the point where there was like, they're coming on and be like, go get your friends to play Destiny. Like, give them codes and do this. Now, in fairness, ever since splitting off, I gotta say, they've been doing great. It's been good. Like, there's there's things that I could say, nitpicks that I could have, whatever. But all in all, it's a much, much better product than when it was under Activision. So
Yeah.
clearly there's something there because, like, I don't know, man. I just fixed it, please. Or don't.
Make
I
this
don't
game.
know. I don't
Make
care.
this
I'll
game
just
as
let
good as it
go.
should be. It should be a good game. It,
Yeah.
it is a good game. I think at its core. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Sure.
I think what's going to end up happening in my brain is that to just protect myself, I'm going to revert back to, I won't talk about Diablo, and then I'll just go back every so often. I won't say anything to anybody, not even you. I'll just be like, I'm going to play 2. And I'll go.
I mean, we
and I'll
all
play
own it
2.
now, so if you get it
I
out
know
here,
we
we'll
do, but I
jump
just
in
mean,
with
like,
you.
before, like, even when I was still in St. Louis, there would be times I would just be like, I want to run through Diablo 2 really
Sure,
quick.
yeah,
I'd load up the classic
Mm.
before the remake even came out. I'd load up the classic, play for a couple days, go right through it, and I go, man,
Good game.
good game.
Good game.
And then I'd be done. And I wouldn't talk about it. I wouldn't be like, hey guys, has anybody tried Diablo 2 recently? Like, I would never do it. I would just keep my mouth shut. And then until we had moments like this where we played through the remake, where then you guys both were like, oh god, he really likes this game. So yeah, I do. But I have to just put it out of my brain because otherwise they're just going to keep hurting me with it over and
You
over.
got the game. You still have it. You can still play that one.
Yeah. Yes. I still can play the good one.
Funny. Well, Preston, we diverged on your week.
That's fine. It
So
happens.
What else?
Often.
What else have you done?
Last
this
game
week?
that I played was snapping. Been snapping. Your boy is in Galactic. He is at level
Okay.
rank
Was it
95
Ooh.
right now. So I got 5 more ranks to get infinite, to get top rank.
8 days. 9 days.
Yep.
You can
So
do it, man.
I
believe
could
in you.
easily do it. Oh yeah, I could easily do it. But the thing is what I've been noticing is that now that I'm in the 90s, here's how the new game is gone. Motherfuckers will drop out in an instant. The instant they think that they're gonna lose more cubes, they are fucking gone. So you know what? 4 cubers and 8 cubers don't happen very often. The pocket Shang still happens, so they think they got it, and pocket Shang comes out. And like Alex likes to say, you slop that little bad boy on the table, and you fucking make it work. And they get so mad, they get
Throw
so
your
many little
Shang down.
thumbs up. Yeah. I had somebody today who thought they got me, and right before I started, my card started coming up. They're like, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Like, I got you, motherfucker. I'm like, oh, buddy, you have no idea what's on this left side, do you? Pops over, Shang comes in and knocks out some high level fucker and just ruins it, and he loses. And I'm like, yep, thumbs up, little fist pump. Good day, sir. Now you can fuck off. I took 4 cubes from you.
Oh,
So-
you know, you
Have fun.
his
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah, have fun getting those cubes
Oh.
back, pal. Enjoy.
So, are you also like, are you
Very
leaving
slow.
too? If it's a bad game, or you just leave?
So I have a new rule now, so I don't lose Galactic rank. I'm like, if I get to 90, below 95, I'm not gonna bet over like 2 cubes unless I know I have it. Like if I know I got it in the bank, of course they can mess me up. But 9 times out of 10, if you know you got it, you're getting the cards I need. We're fine.
So if they snap you, then you're leaving. Unless you know you have it.
Unless I know, I'm like, I have to have the cards that I need for that deck to finish that snap off. Otherwise, I'm not going, well, maybe they're bluffing. I'm like, no one's fucking around right now. Like, we're reaching right before infinite rank a week or 2 before the end of the season. Like, these motherfuckers they're snapping when they need to be.
So the question
Yeah.
I have for you then is, because a lot of times with games like this, you approaching the gates of heaven right now
Yeah, this is definitely Guilty Gear. I'm approaching the gates of heaven, yeah.
is typically where you find the whales. Have you felt that? Like, have you felt like, oh man, I actually could have beaten this person, but he just straight up spent more money than me?
No, you don't feel that way with this game.
Really?
Like, I mean, there's some people like you got full collections. You can get a certain deck to get in there, but like the tech cards and stuff that you get through, and for you to get to this high of a rank, you've got a base set of cards to where you can fuck somebody's day up, and it's just gonna be RNG. It's gonna be RNG in the cards, RNG in the cards that you pull
That's
from your deck.
that's called Heart of the Cards.
Yeah, hard cards, and then you have the heart of the lanes. So what levels are going to pop up there on the front of you? Because guess what? You can get fucked by lanes real hard. Like there's just a lane that says text doesn't matter on your card, which means every ability that you have, no matter what you do, is you toss a card over there. It's like nah, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to have the power. You can play a card there, but it's not going to do anything fun like you wanted to do. So unless you got a
I
card
like-
that has
I
a
always like the
negative
ones-
ability, it's not worth it.
I always like the ones where you like flip over a lane. They're like adds 4 rocks, and it's just like the whole side for both people are just rocks now. Like,
Shove
each
those
one
5
point
rocks
piece.
into your deck. I'm like, well, fuck me. I hope I don't draw any of those rocks today. But yeah, the one of them that's the worst is so you got the 3 lanes. Every next turn, like you unlock a lane. So by the 3rd turn, like you got all lanes unlocked. But you can put other cards in those lanes before they unlock. So if you get the ones that say, hey, you play a card here, it gets destroyed, you got lucky if you placed the card in there before it flipped over because your cards are not going to get destroyed because you're not playing cards there. Those cards already played there.
I don't actually hate that. That's kind of fun.
Or you get one that's bar with no name, which means that the person with the least amount of power wins the lane because you're not supposed to be there. So all of a sudden you put 2 cards into there without knowing it, and now that lane pops and now you're losing that lane.
Oh.
So you can get fucked by the levels pretty easily. Not to mention there's levels that will straight up play the game for you, and guess what? They don't always play what you want them to play. They usually play what you don't want them to play. So have fun with that when you get those. But yeah, Snap's been great. Haven't been playing a whole lot of
You're so
Conquest.
close.
Yeah, I'm so close. Like I'm only like super playing when I know I have time to pay attention now. Like it's not this shit to where I'm like, okay, we'll toss a card, I'll take a call on my work day and like come back to it. Like no, you need to pay attention because those are 4 cubes on the line, and you're getting that close to where you cannot fuck around now.
How many cubes on this high level? Has it always stayed the same amount to move up and move down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
What
gonna
is
be
it, like
it's
8?
7
10?
it's 7 cubes per like number. So 91, 92, 93, 7 cubes apiece. It used to be 10, now it's 7.
So
Yeah.
the question I have, so when you so I want to say it when you get
Oh, I'm gonna get it. My Sarah deck and my Hitmonkey Sarah deck is doing me nice.
Do you think that you will, because you have reached the promised land, does your interest, like, are you done at that
No,
point?
because
are you
every
just, like-
season you drop down 3 ranks.
I know, but I just mean, like, since you've done it once, you're like, okay, I've done it. Like, I did it.
There's gonna be a new
proved
card back.
myself
There's
I
gonna be a
can do
new
it.
thing I need to fucking get. And to be fair, I have a lot of fun with the game. I mean, I'm not winning all the time. Just because I have the Sarah deck, I'm not destroying everyone.
Alex, what's happening right here, we cannot let happen to us
No.
with Magic.
No, don't do that. Magic's worse because you have so many
I know,
cards.
But that's what I'm saying. Dude, we
Be careful. If you need to talk to me, if you need someone who's been in it before, come call me, come talk to me. I'll talk you off that ledge if you need to. If you like, I really want to buy this booster pack, Preston. I'm like, do you need to buy that booster pack, Christian? Do you really need to buy that booster pack?
It's funny.
Preston, they
Jake
put a
said the
kaiju in
Jake
this
said the same
one.
thing of like, good luck. It's expensive hobby, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
because
Wow.
I'll tell you. So, because I don't know if
Sky's
we
the
actually
limit,
talked
buddy.
about this, but like, so we've been playing the online version a little bit. We haven't played
I've
against each other
seen
yet.
I've seen one of you like jump on and on like Steam, like, oh, someone's playing the Magic the Gathering. I'm like, I almost want to pop that up to see what I have.
Have you played any online matches against real people yet?
I did one, and I won because they forfeited, but I don't know why
So
they
I'm on-
forfeited because they had me. I feel like they had me beat.
I'm on like my 5th or 6th win.
Okay.
Sometimes people just, from what I understand, sometimes people just forfeit if they find out they don't have enough time to play anymore. Like, because these games can go on for 30 minutes sometimes, 30, 45 minutes. Like, they can go for a little while. But it feels really good to win.
It
I bet.
does.
I bet.
It does. And like
Right.
when you I don't know, I've been playing with like a white deck. So you
White
have these
white.
guys that are like they're like, "Oh, I'm going to build this army and just run through you." And it's like, "Yeah, all my creatures are flying, so I'm going to just do constant damage and you can't even touch me."
And it'll be
Just like
life.
free damage.
One of these cards gives me extra life, does these things. Or I've been messing around with red as well, which red is equivalent to like the monster deck in Gwent, where it's just like it just spawns a bunch of like nothing everything,
Sure.
but then you'll have a card that'll be like, hey, for every single card that you have on the field that has the name Goblin in it, deal 1 damage to your opponent at the start before you even attack. It's like so you do it, and then it's like bang, 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 and does 8, and then they have to deal with whatever else is coming out in front of them. But then they'll go attack, and I'm like, oh no, it's okay, I won't block it because I don't want to lose any of my goblin cards because I want to do 8 damage to you when this next turn starts.
Yeah.
Free, absolutely free. I'm doing it. So yeah, it feels really good to win in this game.
Card games feel good to win, man.
I know, but
asked
this is
the comic book shop. They do tournaments on Fridays. He's like, dude, we're a chill group. We have like between 4 and 12 people every week, but we know everybody, and it's super chill. If you want to come in, like,
Very nice.
it's fun. Well, okay, we'll see.
I might.
I
look.
wouldn't be able to because I'm not doing that by myself because I don't like people too much. But if I could potentially see it, but
I'll look into some Magic. I'm gonna see. I'm wondering. I'm wondering if because I've played Magic the Gathering online, the game, like for PC. I'm wondering if any of my cards somehow carry over from. I can't remember if I paid. I can't remember what I had. I gotta look into it.
Everything is tied to the account, so if you still remember the account info, then it will all still be right there.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see what I have in there. Yeah.
So,
either way,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's a good game.
Just saying, but we can't.
Be careful.
Be careful. Yes. Like the way
slippery
he's
slope.
talking about it, I'm just like, oh,
slippery
God.
slope.
I
saw today. I almost dropped. The thing is, like, I think if I spend like 10 more bucks in gold, I'll have enough gold to get the Sandman variant like package they have, which gives you the avatar for it. That gives you the variant card and like a bunch of boosters and gold and stuff like that you can get with it. But it's the Sandman, but he's doing like the Salty Bay thing with sand.
Gosh, ridiculous.
It's such a good variant. I don't use Sandman, so I'm like, I'm not gonna buy it. I don't use Sandman, but if I use Sandman in my deck, I would 1000% like, I gotta get this card. I gotta have this card. It's a Salty Bay fucking Sandman.
Here's the thing. I will say, I don't think I'll have the problem spending money on the app. Like, I don't care about a digital.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just not, I don't know. It doesn't hit the same part in my brain.
But when you're going to the shop and you might want to pick up some packs.
Yeah.
That might be a weekly thing to just be like, I'm just going to stop at the shop today.
You look at something like this that's all shiny.
I know.
Right? And like, it's just, yeah, I know.
It's going to be dangerous.
And I will say, but playing the online version, I'm like looking through, especially the white and black, because I think the white and black ones are my favorite so far. Dude,
black's hard.
All of the art is so good.
Their art's amazing. Yeah, that's phenomenal.
And it's like, dude, I don't even mind this regular stuff. Like, I'm like, some of this regular stuff, sick. Like, and then I was like,
take a look through the last
screen. I sat at the screen and I was looking at it for a second, and I was like, oh, I am in a dangerous place. Like, I am in a bad spot right now, and I need to get up and remove myself.
Reassess your situation in your life. Like, do I really want to be here? Should I be here?
All this stuff is
you should look just for fun at like last season's that like bio horror stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah. My true test of will come in 2024 when the brand new standard set comes out. That's supposed to be like the new competitive. Like that's the thing that people will be going off of. That'll be when
I can see myself being off of Snap by then and kind of floating away. But like, I could start something else.
Preston, you're never going to be gone if you keep hitting rank 100.
We'll see. It's a digital card game. We'll see how it goes.
See, and that'll get even worse because if Preston gets into it, he lives by me, so that means we can go together.
That means we be going weekly to like the shop, maybe picking up a pack.
Travis, friend of the show, sent a photo to me the other day. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about Travis's life right now, and he's probably gonna be like, "Nah, I hate you. It's not fair." Let me share this picture.
Well, Travis can comment in the corners of YouTube, and we can fucking bring it to the show.
The map that he's making.
Yes. Yeah. So he pulled out a lot of his cards, and just to show me, if you guys can click. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna allow you to open that image or not. If not, I'll just
send you the image, Preston, because I think I have it as a screen, like so I can. But I'll send it to you that way.
But you're talking about the mat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Look at.
Oh no, so you're sending a photo of his. Is it the collection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sent that to me the other day, and I'm like, "Oh, Travis, what? But what
It's
have
a
you
lot.
done? And he's like, this is the stuff. He's like,
won't
that's
let me see
half.
it.
I texted it. He's like, that's half of what I had. I sold a bunch, but he's also making a play mat on like an Etsy shop, and I'm like, dude, you are falling in the hole.
Yep. There's a hole. And it'll get you. It's a black hole.
Dude,
It'll suck you in.
so many. I think here's what I'd have to do. I think I would be one of these people. If I was to do it, outside of the Lord of the Rings stuff, which I'm just gonna keep forever, like that's just regardless.
That's just Lord of the Rings collection. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Lord of the Rings stuff. But if it were to become a thing, I think I would be one of the people that you buy in, and then right before the rotation is about to hit, you sell everything. Like I'm not keeping anything. I don't want any of it.
Yep.
I will sell it, donate it, whatever. But
So the
it's
copium
all
for all the new
leaving.
stuff, but you can at least put that towards your next collection.
Yeah. I'm selling everything. I'm getting rid. I'm donating whatever.
Maybe keeping like one or two that you like the art for, like your special cards that you like from that collection
like
set.
very, very like
Yeah.
the most minimal of minimal, right? Because it's never going to do anything else. Like it's not worth it. It doesn't. It gets retired after that to like the other what non-standard game modes or whatever, and then I would be like, okay, now that the rotation is happening, I can go back out and restart this process over. But I will never ever ever be able to. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
It's just too much. It's too.
It would also have to like fully fund itself, right? Because like
To my
getting into Magic
understanding-
itself is expensive. So
To my understanding, from that's how people do it. Is they'll show up to the conventions and stuff, and then just be like, they'll put a thing in saying, "I'm trying to sell, so
Here's what I have. Yeah.
here's all the stuff. Lowest I'll take is $1. Highest I'll take is whatever it is worth as far as some of these other things. But everything's up for grabs. Take it all."
Interesting.
That's quite
yeah.
the collection.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we
that's
have-
to be
I
fair,
played a little
that's
bit.
tame from what I've seen on that collection.
What'd you say?
Me?
I said
No,
it's been fun so far from what I've played,
We
but
need
I
to
don't
play-
want to fall
we need
into
to
the
play
hole
together.
that Crab has. Yes.
I'll jump
Yeah,
in. I'll
me
download.
too.
I'll download the online version. See if we got some free stuff for me to play with.
Do it.
I don't. Do you have the Lord of the Rings stuff yet, Christian, in that game? I still need to send you that code.
No, mine's next week. So if anything, send it to Preston.
Okay, I'll have to look, Preston. I should have an extra code because they give you like 2 codes and all these starter packs. So like one for you, and then I guess one for a friend.
They're
But
fun
if
to
you
play
download
with.
that game.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, I'll take it.
Just like a code for the starter packs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it.
The first hit's
And if
always
he doesn't
free,
have it,
baby.
fine. If he
I'll
doesn't,
have to
yeah.
find it because I don't know where I put it. But I
And
have
for
it
whatever
around
reason,
somewhere.
if you can't find it, don't worry about it because mine comes here on Monday and I can give him one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Well, other than that, I haven't played any other video games. I do want to mention 2 things. We'll be really quick with the first one. Secret Invasion started up. I watched it. It's going to be good. Don't go into it thinking it's a superhero show. 'Cause it's not. This is a spy thriller kind of thing. Espionage kind of thing. Samuel L. Jackson is doing the Nick Fury thing. I'm liking it. I'm curious to see how it goes. It's slow start. Kind of building blocks, letting you feel a pace for it. Because I think it's going to ramp up. Because I think this is a 6-episode thing. Something very small. So it's like a mini series, they call it. Yeah. But they're doing weekly. It's fine. The intro is done by AI art. So I'm okay with
I was just
AI
reading
art.
that article.
I'm okay with AI art, but I don't. We used it for our D&D characters because it was fun. I'm not going to afford to be able to have somebody actually draw us up art characters, or want to afford it for that matter. But so we use that. Marvel can afford to pay an artist to do the intro for their fucking show and have someone getting like, but no, I guess they saved themselves some money. Don't know how much it costs for them to actually create that through AI art, which is probably not cheap. But I would rather see, but maybe it has something to do with the show and being things that aren't they seem, and they need to feel alien, I guess. So this is not a human created art. I don't know what bullshit they want to spin on it, but it's kind of a sour thing to me for them to say. I'm like, you could have afforded to pay an artist. But then is the artist the person who built the AI who did whatever? Either way, that's there. Just so you know it. Not a bad show.
I mean,
It seems all right.
the person that built the AI, like it's even. don't know, like no AI is original, right? Like AI is pulling from other
Built
people's
from
ideas.
some other, yeah.
So
And pulling from other
you
people's
built
art and then creating something from it.
Yeah.
you built the code, but you're still stealing ideas and just putting it together.
Copy and pasting
I think
Photoshop
AI art,
its own way.
AI
Yeah.
art and AI
very-
stuff in general is fun for
It's
things
interesting,
that are just
yeah.
supposed to be for fun. Like,
Like our D&D
oh
characters.
look, I made it make Joe Biden on a skateboard eat like
Or
eating ice.
if
cream
you
or
were
some
listening
dumb
to
shit.
the conversation that Christian had about Florida and traveling, I used AI art to make a photo of an alligator on top of a plane. Like, so
Right,
you can do
exactly.
fun things like that with it, but like
Absolutely, same
Marvel
thing.
doesn't need to be fucking using it for
But
their
when you're,
intros.
as soon as something becomes, I'm trying to sell a product or I'm making a product that is going to make money, using that rip off of other people, then to be able to do it for free and be like, oh, it's my own thing. It's
Trying to save money. Fuck you, Marvel.
Yeah.
You're doing fine. And last, I watched the Super Mario Brothers movie. That movie is a treat. It's very enjoyable. It's nothing that nothing's gonna surprise you. They do the Mario stuff. They got some good renditions of the songs. There's callbacks to a whole bunch of stuff. Mario in the very beginning is in his like room or his apartment or wherever the fuck he is, and he's playing some game on the TV, which is a little tiny TV. I'm pretty sure he's playing the original Nintendo, I think. But there's a little Star Fox AR figure on top of his television, like the ship. But there's a lot of like small other stuff, like there's like Double Dash reference. There's a whole bunch of references in there that are just a lot of fun. You heard right, Jack Black steals the show. It's fucking phenomenal, the character that he put into that character, and I love it. I love every minute of it. Charles Martinet is in there in the very, very beginning. He's playing the Jumpman arcade machine, and they're making a joke about the commercial that they have, because they do the Mario and Luigi voices in their commercial for their plumbing business, but their voice is not really like that, like on like their real world. And Charles Martinet is like, yeah, I think it sounds fantastic. Yeah, and does his fucking voice or whatever it is. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoyed the movie. I don't think Seth Rogen is what I would think of as far as the voice for Donkey Kong, but it's there. It's fine. It's a Donkey Kong fan. That's not who I had in my mind for God knows how many games, but nearest Fred Armstead for Cranky Kong, but we got it, so we're there. Yeah, it's a fun movie. If you have a chance and it's there to watch, you're not going to be super disappointed. You'll enjoy it. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm excited to watch it. I think it'll be fun.
It's fun, and it's like I think it's like an hour and a half
you've already
long.
seen it.
It's like super short.
I thought you had
No.
already seen it.
Jake has seen
No.
it. Jake's the only person we know that's seen it, I think.
Oh. Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Feel free to watch it. It's fun. But yeah, other than that, that's my week.
Nice. Well, with that, let's quickly go through the second half of our game. Inside.
half.
So the last half, the only other half. Two parts out of two here. One whole.
That's how it works.
Well,
so
in
yeah,
case of
the-
inside, there's probably a lot of holes somewhere, but
True. So this is the second part of our gaming book club for Inside, where we're gonna talk about the ending, because boy.
That is an ending.
So after we talked last, I went back and restarted it over. Which I guess I didn't restart over, it just loaded the first save, because apparently in that game you can just hop between loads. That's what she said. So I can
and you followed a guide to get all the secrets.
So, I only had to follow a guide for two of them. I got the rest naturally because I like what you said. Follow the yellow cable. I was like, oh, it stood out. But because I had played through everything, like you said, you knew the puzzles. That first half went by like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Like to catch up where we were was like literally 25 minutes.
Now I know you definitely used a guide to get the secret ending, because it took people forever to figure out what they fucking wanted you to do to get that door open.
Yeah, so I missed I couldn't find the second hidden like room, because like unlike all the others that have the yellow cable to it, the second one is in the farm. You're running through the farm and you literally just hold down the action button and it's a trap door. So like I had to use a guide to find that. And yeah, I just used a guide to get the secret ending. So like, I'm not gonna do this shit because it was. I even following the guide told you what you needed to do. So to get the secret ending, you have to break all those little like balls. You're just essentially
They all make
pulling a
different
power
sound.
source. You're pulling a power source out of them, and when you get to this secret room at the end, there is a panel that can go left, right, or up, and that's it. And you have to move it in a bunch of different ways to get it to open another secret door. And it was literally like left, right, up, down, left, right, up, down, one, like 1, 2, 3. Like it's just what the hell it was. I have no idea how you figured out that combination.
So my understanding, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was like so it's controlling the pitch. There's a sound that's happening, and it's controlling the pitch based on whatever way you move it. And then each time that you pull on one of those little pods, a different sound pops up. So you're matching the pitch for each one. That's why I was like, I know there's no
I didn't even
shot.
tempt. I just had it. I looked it up. And it was interesting though. So I went back and played, and I caught up to where we were, and then from that point forward, I was looking for the yellow things. I think I only had to use a guide to find one other, or maybe I found it but had to use a guide to like figure out how to complete it. But otherwise,
Right.
like they were all actually pretty easy once you knew what you were looking for, right? Like once it's like, oh, the yellow gable, like just follow this. It was super simple. So we're not going to spend too much time going like piece by piece like we did in the last one where we talked about like the farm, we talked about the warehouse, because like we know the story to this point. We're the boy, we are
wanna
dropped in this
say-
world.
Really, the mines after playing the mines are still my favorite. That sound design in that area with the thud that
The
happens
thumper,
every
yeah.
single sound that's shooting it just over and
So
over
I
again. And
jacked up my computer speakers for that one because you told me to do it. I'm like, okay, this one's got a nice subwoofer. I'm gonna put it in there, and my God, like they did really cool designs with that audio because depending on like if you're behind something, if you weren't behind something, like the sounds changed.
yeah, so there's
Completely.
this- and I forgot about this up until the moment that it happened. But there's the time when the bar is coming down to the mines area, and you have to like it is an automated like it twirls right, and you have to get behind it. But the metallic hum that ends up coming after the reverb like hits that, it is so satisfying and
Very
so cool
cool,
sounding, and it ends up staying with you until you get through the door because your ears are basically ringing from that's happening, and so it stays with you the entire time up until you leave. Is like I said, is as far as sound design is concerned, it is one of the best design things I've ever heard.
I don't know if the mines were my favorite level based on design, but it was my favorite puzzle. So
Sure.
like with what you're saying for the listeners and viewers out there with the mines, it is a sound puzzle to where every time something in the background slams and makes contact, it shoots out a shockwave. So you have to be behind something, and it is very cool. Like when you're on bridges, it shakes the bridge, or even when you're behind something,
Just
it
getting
shakes it.
thrown
Like
past
shockwaves.
you. Yeah.
And you find out, especially where Christian was talking, like in the scene, there's one part where this thing is moving on a circle, and you essentially have to climb up a ladder and then run across and jump off while always being behind something, which is very difficult to figure it. That
Took me a
part
couple
out.
tries, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the moment. That was the first time where I wasn't behind something when the shockwave came, and oh boy, it's brutal.
You were blasted.
Those shockwaves like tear you apart.
It just blows you
and
apart. Yeah.
just blows you away. So the level in the puzzle was very cool. I enjoyed that one a lot. It took me a minute to figure it out. It's like, okay, when I run in here, just pause it, like halt that circular moving thing for a time, and then like time it to let it go, and then you can follow it around. But it is well done. So we're still taking our trek through the mines, getting closer and closer to the city or a factory, and that's what we do, right? So when we get to the factory, it was my favorite level, or area, because in the factory you start to get this weird paranormal stuff, happening where like water is floating, like you're walking around on the ground, but like above you in the room there's water and just like up to the ceiling. And in that water are kind of like those mermaid creatures, but like
They're
hanging
floating,
upside down.
Yeah.
Stuff like that was very cool. In fact, there was a part where I was running through one of those, and in my head, I was like, man, this feels very Control-like in its use of sci-fi.
That was like 10 years before Control.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, and I was like, I really like this feeling. And we'll talk about it in a minute, but boy, did that feeling quickly change.
Yeah.
But anyway, what were some of your initial thoughts? Preston, we'll go to you as we're picking up where we left off.
Yeah.
Making our way closer to the end.
So one of the new kind of things in there was you got into the helmet a couple times to control the dolls, but this one actually has it to where you accidentally like take a helmet off the string or whatever, and you just have it on you. So then they're following you around the entire time.
That was cool.
That is so fucking creepy because if you stop, they all just start crowding you and they're just like looking down at you. And I think even one of them was like petting me at one point. I think when we were in the elevator, like he was like down, like crouched down a little bit, and he's like kind of just moving his hand like this. I'm like, is that motherfucker petting me? Like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah,
you have to collect like 20 of them at that point. At one time,
it's like 19 or 20. Yeah.
Well, it's 21, and
the last one
is
a dead one.
Yeah.
So you have to throw it down there and slop it around. And it's like just ragdolling. Fucking weird, dude. Super creepy. And them trying to throw you around as a further control. And that it took me a minute to figure out like the one to where you get the guys. What happens is you got a couple guys with you, and then you get to like an edge of a corner, and there's a lever that's on like a little perch, like a little island area. But you can fall down and you can't jump and make it yourself. I didn't know the guys could pick you up and throw you. So it took me forever to figure that out. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
They throw you.
Yeah, and I just happened to be like near the edge and kind of like trying to think about moving my thumbstick up, and I move it up, and all of a sudden I see them starting to pick me up. I'm like, oh, and then they throw me over. But yeah, it's that was an interesting area. Like you said, sounds on the bridge are fantastic. I'm trying to see my other notes on here.
It never gets less unsettling.
No.
So when you get all those dolls around you, like it's never better.
The game, I think the game does a good job of it continues to ramp up the unsettling.
Yes.
It
Because
never
like
goes backwards. It always continues an upward trajectory of some kind, whether it's a slow ramp or a big spike.
yeah. So I was like I think Alex was playing a little bit of Diablo while like I was sitting there kind of trying to finish it up before I jumped in with them. And I'm at the part to where you finish the sound area and you get in the elevator. Elevator just fucking drops because the sound thing is fucking destroying the elevator while you're in it. So it drops all the way down and hit the water, and I'm like, oh no. And you start walking around like, okay, there's no those little creepy guys in here. Like, we're fine. We're cool. They're not going to overuse the enemies. Fantastic. Preston feels safe. Get to the part to where you're starting to use the levers and the little boxes that float up, and you get to the first section, the first like next level, and there's a fucking window into the water, and there's one of them fucking staring at you, just kind of like, hi, I'm waiting for you to get over here. And I'm like, okay, well, they're gonna let me know it's there later on. And you get to the point, you get up and you get over, and you have to drop down. And you're like, I know exactly where I'm going. I don't want to go there. I really don't want to go there. But yeah, it's fun. And then that's when I think soon after that, the super more weird part of the story kind of happens to where, I don't know if you want me to kind of talk about that, to where they get you and they're supposed to get you.
Oh yeah, you can talk about that. That was
Mermaid
fine.
people.
Yeah, the mermaid people, they get you,
Yeah.
they're supposed to get you, and like you don't respawn all of a sudden. You're like, okay. And you keep falling, like, okay, this is a thing. You get to the bottom, and then you find out that you just can breathe in water now.
Well, it's not that you can now; it's that they
Made
implanted
you.
it in you.
Yeah, you saw them like doing something to you.
Or, like the surgery thing in there. That basically, I'm assuming there's all sorts of speculation. My assumption is that they implanted the ability to breathe in water, whatever that looks like. Gills.
Sure,
I don't
yeah.
fucking know.
I
put it
was
in, yeah.
I was just confused in that part because like they're the two times you meet them, they kill you, right? Like they chase you down, they kill you. This time they also look like they kill you, but I guess they do the surgery. But like, why are they trying to make me breathe underwater? Like, is that how they make more? Were they like, do they see something different in me? Like that was a little confusing on that. Like,
Same.
why are some killing me, but then there's a few that are like, hey, you need to breathe underwater.
Save that-
Here you go.
Save that Save that nugget of confusion because
Fair.
it'll come back around.
Okay.
But continue.
Yeah. Other than that, I definitely say like when the elevator scene happened, they give you a little extra breath than you usually have before you get that new breath. Because I'm like, well, I should be dying by now. Like normally this is the time I die, and that didn't happen as soon as that happened. And yeah, other than that, that's the only other notes I have down here outside of the very ending.
Okay. So I'll keep going forward here, Christian, because I'm more interested to hear your thoughts. So all of the puzzles I really enjoyed. As you said, the creepiness ramps up, but the puzzles ramp up too. So when you get to the place I was talking about in the factory, where all of a sudden there's water floating and those creatures up top, like the puzzles got interestingly tough, where you were having to figure out how to either lower the water or get up into it, like how to make things drop out of the water and then move to other sides, pull levers. Like they were very, very well done. The entire game, the puzzles were well done. So it was great. So I had about 7 minutes of, wow, this feels like, give me this weird sci-fi horror control feels. Like, I really like this. And I come out of that factory and I get upstairs and there's like glass rooms in the middle of the floor where clearly... Yeah.
This entire time that you're running towards this glass room, people are running away from you. Like they're all running towards something.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. So like you see that like there's these glass rooms where people have had maybe experiments on, there's doctors in, but there's foldable metal chairs outside of them where people clearly have been sitting in them watching, but you see like some people running in the background. You're like, that's weird. But then there's not just people running in the background, like there's people running in the foreground, like where you are, like run past you, like see you.
Not stopping you and killing you like they have been. Yeah.
Which is very different, right? Because they've been killing you. So then all of a sudden this weird panic hits of like, should I also be running? Like, are they running away? Are they running to? And then you find out they're running to something. And you go up to the glass and you look in and you don't see what they're running to, but you continue doing for another couple of minutes. You just continue until through the puzzle you find your way inside of this tank that everybody was looking into.
And your clothes get blown off.
Yeah, you get naked.
Which this becomes one of the most unsettling things I've ever experienced in any video game I have ever played. There's in the middle of this water tube is a ball of hands and feet. And like not just like they're reaching and they're pulling. So like me being this weird character, like I pull out like there's 4 little tubes. I pull one out and like as I pull one out,
there are 4 mind control helmets.
Yeah, that's what I was. And like as I pull one out, all the hands like grab me and I have to like swim away. But like there's a lot of tension, so you have to break free. Pull the second one, more hands reach out and grab me. By the third one, I'm like expecting it, but the third one's a little different because as you try and swim away, it just pulls your body inside of it. To which point I go, oh, I must have just died. Like, okay, I get it. I failed this puzzle. I died. Except you
blob.
Don't die. You do become the blob.
Inside the blob. Yeah.
To which I go, weird choice. Interesting ending. But oh no. The game's not done with you.
Yeah.
You then become the grossest hand-foot putty blob I have ever seen, with the grossest ragdoll physics and like bouncy like reverberations as you then break through
the entire time.
Yeah, as you
like all
you
the
break
people that are smashed
through the glass.
Like, ooh.
You break through the glass where everybody's watching, and then all hell breaks loose. Because you just are busting through walls, busting through glass, tearing things down. Killing people if you can get them. But then like, so people are scared of you. One of the creepiest parts of this ending, beyond all of its creepiness, was this guy who was trapped behind some flames by a closed door. And I got to the closed door, and he pushed himself back by the flames. And I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do here? So then I like went back to the other side, and he kind of like slowly like crawls out, and then it gets closer and closer to the door, and like I start to roll forward. He runs back and like hides, and they're like, okay, clearly you want me to go away. And just they animated him unlike they animated anybody else in
Yeah.
that game, and it was like a real person like sliding along the wall to like hit the button just long enough for it to stay open, and as you get over, he like scrambles back to the fire and hopes. It was so terrifying and disgusting from that point on till the end. And we'll talk
Yeah,
about the
and
end in a
so then-
minute.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Preston, like at that point,
So
what are your thoughts here?
I knew, and I've seen that part of the ending as far as like what that blob looks like, and people talked about it for the game of the year that year, and people wanted to be game of the year. I wouldn't have put it in the game of the year. It was interesting enough, but no.
No, not with that
But
ending.
I didn't realize how much you controlled it. At first, I thought you just ran through and got out, but no, it's you run through, but you're still doing puzzles as the blob, which I thought was really interesting as far as like how they did that into the game to where you're running. If you fall, if you move somewhere where essentially the putty, if you will, like Alex said, if it moves, like feet start appearing down where the ground's at, arms start appearing out to where it needs to grab the box. So like it is just
they could
morphing.
fall out if you
Yeah.
hit the ground so too hard.
Yeah, pieces
which
will
was
fall out.
gross.
Yeah, they'll just blast off your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like if you get singed by the fire, a part of you is singed the entire time, and you can kind of try to wash it off in the water if you want to, which I thought was a really nice touch. But yeah, it's very unsettling. I was confused at what to do. I was weird and surprised that you couldn't absorb other people. I was kind of like weird about I'm like knock one guy down. They're on the ground. I'm kind of standing around to kind of watch it happen. I'm like, but it's not
There's one
absorbing
thing that
him.
you just explode. Like you fall, and the guy's under you, and he's like, on my screen,
Squish. Yeah. So it's super, super unsettling. I kind of like was enjoying the whole like god power you kind of felt like just busting through those walls. And at some point, like there's a point to like they're opening doors for you and they're going, hey, come this way. I'm like, are they helping me or are they helping themselves by getting me out of the room that they're in? Which I'm thinking is more like the kind of sign. But yeah, you're going through and you're doing a whole bunch of stuff with that, and it's very interesting. Again, very unsettling, but I did enjoy the kind of the turn of like the more power I got at that end.
I agree actually, and I think that's a smart strategic move by the devs because it was very gross and unsettling to do that. And if you didn't have the feeling of the fun kind of god power of like how cool is this animation when I bust through the wall and everything goes flying, it would have been bad. This kept it like,
Just
and I don't mean
unsettling,
bad as in
yeah.
because the ending would have been the ending is what it is, which we'll talk about. It was kind of weird, and I have thoughts on that. But like, if it was just unsettling, people would not have liked it. So they did this good balance of like you have these crazy powers in this weird ball that makes it more fun. And I think they timed it the right amount. The grossest part to me is when you need to get up high, how it stretched and the hands reached out of it.
and then pulled itself out, and it sort of just like slinkies itself.
Yeah, it's like
over.
schlops itself. Yeah.
Yeah. So as Preston said, they end up like people after you lose so many, people end up helping you with puzzles. They push boxes off for you, or they do different stuff, or they guide you out, and eventually you bust out of a wall and you roll down a hill, and your
mountainside,
mountainside, your fat little blob ends up on a beach with the sunset.
And you die.
And that's credits. That's it.
Do you die? We don't. I mean, that's kind of it, right?
Anymore. And so the whole point of the ending is like you were inside and you got outside, but at what cost?
Yeah, I read. So I had to. I got to. I got to the end, and had to read like an explanation of like what people theorize it
Or the
was,
devs may have said.
That's the thing is the devs have not said anything. This is
all theory
and speculation. The reason that I say that you die there is because of the secret ending, and what I think that means is that
Okay.
like, but we 'cause I think the secret ending is very clearly leads itself in. I mean, we can get into it. So like with the
right there.
with the secret ending, it is you get behind this door, you have to do the fucking musical note shit. You get in, and once you're in, there's a lever. There's a computer in the background that has one of the mind control helmets hooked onto it, and then it's got like a cable that's going up, and there's a million screens. It's very clearly like the mainframe. Like it is where everything is being housed at. And then you pull the lever, and the kid just sort of slumps over, and then it fades to black, and it stops.
You fall the same way the dolls do when you take the helmet off.
You're a doll at that point, yeah.
And so
Mhm.
this is just my interpretation. We can talk about how we all think about that here in a minute, especially in regards to the main ending. But to me, especially because the blob is hooked up to 4 mind control things that you're unhooking, I believe that the little boy you're being controlled by the blob the entire time. The blob is controlling you, and it is, in the secret ending version, it is taking you there to not only kill it, but everything. Like, just
Shut
kill
it
the whole
down.
project.
Yeah.
Everything needs to go. All the dolls need to go. I need to go. It all needs to go.
Mhm.
In the main ending, I think it is, I'm going to use this little boy to escape. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't, this is torture. This is all this other stuff. I need to get out of here. And the sort of, thing that happens is that I got out, like, I escaped, but I died. But then it's like I died on my own terms kind of thing. Like, I'm not sitting here in a lab getting poked and prodded and turned into a bunch of Zambo workers and all that other stuff. That's how I took it. That's where I was at.
Your theories, I believe as well. I agree with. I think they're the most predominant online. So again, I had to read it because when I got to the end of the whole like on the beach thing, I was like, what the F was that? Like, it didn't hit me immediately that this thing was being maybe mind controlling you, and like you said, like you got inside to get outside. Like that did not land with me. Now the secret ending landed with me when you pull the lever and you fall down and you're like, oh, I was being controlled and I was a doll. And I actually thought that was really compelling, and I thought could have been really interesting if honestly just
It
that was
the
part
better,
of the
yep. But the
if that was
problem
like part
is
of the ending.
it shouldn't have been part of the ending. It should have been the ending. That
Right.
should have been the ending. But you should have seen the blob thing and done all this other stuff, and then as you're traveling your way down, where you see all these people looking at the blob, and then maybe they're doing some experiments to make people move and do this other stuff, and you're like, oh shit, this is the thing that's controlling everything. And then you get downstairs and you find some way down there, right? Like whatever puzzles might ensue, and then you pull the plug, and then you slump over and everything goes, and then it hits you, and you're like, oh, this entire time the blob was just trying to end it. Like, that would have been.
I would have been okay too if you would have turned into the blob, and then outside you would have made your way to that bunker and done the same thing, and then the blob just kind of like boom. Like either one, I think that would have been fine. But like to really land home that like you were being controlled, because again online, like people, it makes a lot of sense. People were saying, why else would this little boy be trying to make it inside of this huge factory? Right? Why would he be going through all this danger to go inside? It doesn't make sense other than the fact he was being controlled by something else. It's all like,
Yep.
I agree with your theory. I just think the better ending by far was the secret ending. That was hard to get.
Yeah. So this will tie in. Preston, do you have where are you at on the ending?
I didn't get the special ending, so I just kind of felt.
You know what it is now, though.
No, yeah, I know what it is now, but it's just it didn't hit well for me. I enjoyed up to it, and then you start rolling down the mountain. I'm like, okay, where are we gonna go from this? It's gonna be cool. We're gonna get into the city. We're gonna do some crazy stuff. It's gonna get bigger. It's gonna be fucking great. And you just stop, and then I'm like, okay, he's not moving. I can't move it, and it pauses there for a hot minute. Then credits hit. I'm like, oh, so that's just it. I'm like kind of waiting for the credits to finish to see if there's any end credits thing. I'm like, okay, it just didn't do anything for me. All for naught.
Same.
To a certain point.
For me, this is everything that we're talking about right now, and some of the confusion leading into this back half of the game is why I think that I look back on this game a little bit more negatively, and I hold Limbo into a higher regard, is because one, it doesn't flood the ending, which, spoilers if for whatever reason you don't want to hear the ending to Limbo. I'm gonna spoil it for the sake of this conversation. But it's almost like 15 or 16-year-old game, and it takes maybe 3 hours to go play. So just pause this, go play it, come back. But between the frustration stuff, between like leading into it, where you're like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why didn't the underwater breathing thing happen the first time I got caught by one of these things? It doesn't
Right.
make sense. Like, I don't understand. Like, I was in a submarine and one got in and ripped me apart in a submarine. But then I'm not in a submarine. I'm still swimming in the water. There's no discernible difference between where I am and like it doesn't make any sense. So there's that kind of weird stuff. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense at first why the factory workers are trying to help you escape when they know a lot of it is like we can end this problem right now. Like we could shoot a bunch of fire at this thing and cut our losses and be done and stop more people from doing it. It's like, no, jump up here and then break this ledge that a bunch of us are standing on and kill some of it. Like it doesn't make any sense.
But you also got in, like they had a blob there and only one little boy got in. Like you know how to contain it. Why would you even be willing to let it go? Why would you not be trying to recontain it? Because clearly it has an impact.
They do try to recontain part of it, right? Like there's part of it where they're trying to lead you into another tank. But it's like you've already watched it get out of one tank.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make any sense that you'd be trying to lead it to this other tank in the first place. But yes, to your point, you have so many other ways that you can be dealing with it. It doesn't seem like you're dealing with it at all. You're just like, I guess, go ahead. Like, whatever you got to do to get out of here. So there's that whole thing. And then my frustration with the main ending that most people get the first time, because that secret ending, while I do appreciate the like, I do understand the whole like, hey, we wanted to make it like hard. There's a certain point like with the witness and certain things where like you go too far in the obtuse area for me, where I'm like, bro, come on. Like I don't need to be doing all this to figure out your shit. Like, I'm all for fun puzzles and stuff that like there was times where I spent like 3 hours on something on the witness. Like I'm not opposed to a puzzle that takes a long time, but having something as innocuous as a tone that plays that you have to try to like, no one would have ever been able to think about like it took so long and so many people to fucking figure this out. Either way, so all that aside, I think but you get to that ending, you're just dead on the beach, and your guys' reaction is the same reaction that everybody had at a certain time, which is, that's it? I don't get it. Look, I don't, like, is it dead? I don't know. Okay, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bummer for the blob, I suppose, but I don't know. I didn't have really, like, an attachment. So, like, it doesn't land the same. Whereas Limbo, the reason that I think Limbo is better than Inside, or just a better game, but then the Inside ends up being like the Lost Levels version of Limbo, is because Limbo and Inside are almost the exact same, except Limbo slams dunk its ending and Inside does not, in my opinion. Like Limbo has all the same weirdness, all the same like weird stuff that's going on, and I'll spare everybody but like as the ending is coming up, there's a whole point in the game where the game's world turns like this and goes to the side, and you're dealing with like these weird gravity puzzles, and you're like the little boys like you're trying to like thread the needle on a bunch of these different shots, and then there's this very end where it is like a whole screen's worth, and you're just like dodging through all these spots and all this, like you're gaining speed and you're gaining speed and you're gaining speed, and you're in this whole zone, and then as soon as you're heading towards this end and you don't know what's about to happen on the next side of the screen, and then glass shatters and you're flying through it, and then as you're flying through it, you notice that it starts to like the world starts to orient itself back to where you're supposed to be going, but you're still flying on the side, and then you crash land on the ground and you're just laying there, and you realize that the way you're laying there and your eyes and the kid starts to blink and then goes to sit up is exactly how you started the game, which was him laying on his back and blinking, and then the title fades in and goes Limbo, and it's because you're stuck and I was like
in a loop. Yeah,
dude, it is the bit like so goddamn good. Like you are leading people through it and you're trying to figure out what's going on. You're like, this kid's stuck in this forest, and then he's stuck in these buildings, and he's doing all these things. Like, what is going on? And you shatter through this glass, and you're like, what in the hell are they even going to do next? And then you start to look around, and you're like, I'm in a forest again. No way. And then the title fades in. You're just like, great, good job. And I think that kind of ending is something I would put on par with the revelation of you being like, if we, the three consultants here, would have rewritten the game like how we just talked about, I think you could see Inside being talked about in a similar light. I still think I would still knock points because I'd be like, you did this already, like you did this once before, so you don't need to go do it again.
I didn't finish Limbo, so I didn't know that. That's really cool. I knew it was about Limbo, but I didn't. Yeah. After finishing this game, while the credits were going, I was wondering if you, as the kid, would have somehow fallen out of the blob and would have started out at the beginning of the game. Literally was one of my thoughts.
Oh,
like,
sure.
What Limbo did, I thought Inside might do at the very end.
It's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Like it is. Yeah. But that's what I mean. So
but they didn't do it. You just
and
did whatever.
And they made the secret ending that does have a good impact. They hid it behind so much stuff that that nobody ends
There's
up,
even mechanics
people,
for those secret areas like that you don't have in the game. Like I was watching some of it as I was going through because I got stuck on a puzzle. I'm like, okay, well maybe just find out what to do, and it shows you like in that one, hey, all the secrets too. One of them was like you're warding off the dogs with a stick of fire. You've never done that in the entire game outside of that secret room.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess that's where I'm at. Is when I finally finished it and I saw the ending again, and I was just like, yep. I feel the exact same way that I did when I played it. And there was a lot of people that were upset, and I think part of that is probably a good reason as to why we haven't seen another Playdead game. Is the feedback that people got during that time, like once players actually got their hands on it, was just like the same way you guys felt that first inning where you just went, okay, is that, and then like you're pressing buttons on the controller and you're like, can I move? What is happening? And can I just say, by the way, the fade to the credits takes way too long.
Yeah,
It's like 2.5 minutes or something.
You're sitting there thinking that something is about to happen for so long. It feels a lot longer than 2.5
yeah,
minutes.
it does.
And you're sitting there, and like the camera is panning like at a snail's pace to go back. So by the minute 30 mark, you're probably sitting there going like, okay, I can tell the camera's pulling back, but like, what is happening here? And it takes forever for the fucking credits to finally fade in. And you're like, okay, I guess I did it. Like, I don't know. But then, to some players' credit, the first thing is that people said there has to be more here. There has to be more here, and there is. And you have to be the ones you had to be one of those people that wanted to go find it. But if you go back and look, like a majority of the people when they finished the game were like, I'm good. That was weird. I don't know. It's like 3.5 hours of my time, so I guess no harm, no foul. But like, I don't particularly need to go back and look for all that other stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely. I enjoyed finding that other stuff because I knew what I was looking for, and then I got to see the secret ending, and it made it easy because I did like start following a guide there to make sure I didn't miss anything, and it was definitely a better ending. There's so many things you could have done. I mean, you could have gotten into that blob, gotten to the end, and then once you hit the shore, like you could have had a completely different character. Some girl crawls out of it, and you realize like she was being held prisoner, and she was mind controlling you to get herself out. Stuff, right? Like you could have done a lot of really interesting stuff, including the secret ending, that would have hit harder than
Just
what
see
Preston said. Like
something come out of
didn't
there
land.
and leave, and just don't describe it. Do the same thing you did with the whole game, which is like don't describe what's happening, but just show something else happen, and then leave it up to the viewer to like what it was. Like that would be better.
I think that the reason that I get so frustrated with Inside is because there's so much to like sound design and art design and certain areas, especially the sound design, in my opinion, are so good because they got more money than they knew what to do with after Limbo because Microsoft scooped them up. It became a whole thing. They were able to work with a mad budget. And it shows. Like Inside is a polished polished game. Like it is to the T, it is exactly the world they wanted to create. I just think that from a gameplay and story perspective, it it had already been done before, and then in this case, it had already been done better. Like you already
Yeah.
did, and you did it better beforehand. So I don't know why I'm here.
Yep. Yeah. It was, I kind of had that feeling. It was 3.5 hours. My time. I played it. I experienced it. I went in blind. It was cool. The ending did not hit. But it was fun
And it
up
sucks
until
because
that.
because of that ramp up too. Like it's going really strong. That's why I almost didn't want to say anything the first episode and be like, oh yeah, I tried to downplay it as much as I could because I didn't want to be a negative Nancy and be like, like poo poo on it, like and bring it down. But it is like because the frustration is that up until that point, like up until that last stretch, there's the little confusing things, right? Like there's the little things that happen along the side, but even during, you can sort of brush some of that aside. Even it's really up until the ending sequence that you're
Mhm.
like, this is great. Like
Yep.
I don't know
Yeah.
what's happening here, but stuff is happening. It's been a constant ramp up this whole time. Trains hasn't stopped, like all that, and then it just ends on such a bad note, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess. Like it just doesn't. It doesn't. I think the reason that Limbo works so well is because you didn't know what you were expecting, and so or you didn't know anything. You didn't know what to expect, and so when it happened, you were like, this is fantastic. Like I want to go play through this again. I can't wait to watch other people play it for the first time and see their reaction. Like that's the kind of, and that's what happened. Like people, like if you go and look up, the first thing is Limbo ending reaction because it's people just going because it blows their mind the first time they see it. And so you create this, like I think you create a expectation of making mind-blowing games, which I think is fine, except that's why if it was me, I would go, okay, we're going to do something completely different. Because if we do the same thing kind of thing again, people are going to be expecting us to go over like and do it again, and that's really
Mhm.
hard to do. Really,
Yep.
really hard to do. And so I would have just went completely and been like, hey, if we're doing a brand new, this is what we do here. Every game's different. Like it doesn't work now because of Hades and Hades 2, but up until this point, why am I blanking on the name? Um, what's the studio name that does those games?
Does Bastion,
Supergiant.
Hades, and Transistor? Yeah, yeah.
Supergiant, thank you.
Supergiant.
Um, so I was like Giant something, I couldn't figure it out. Yeah, Supergiant. That was their MMO, right? Or that was their MO. Is that hey, we're nothing.
Everything's different.
It's fantastic that you loved Transistor, and Transistor will be there for you to play all the time. Same thing with Bastion, same thing with everything else. But it is going to be the only game we do like this. And the next game is going to be completely different, and it's going to be what we're feeling at the time. And that, I think, is the best way to do it because now every single time somebody boots up one of your games, everybody's expectations is set to zero because I don't know what I'm
Mhm.
getting. I have no idea. Um, Whereas when you start out a game that basically is Limbo 2, like people have a lot of baggage that's going to come with that. Like I'm going to expect to get my mind blown. And
Yeah.
the problem is that the game mostly manages to do it until the end. And then it
Mhm.
flubs it so hard that you're just like, okay, I guess. And then you're just left with this like sour taste essentially. And that's never how you want to leave somebody who's experienced, like, but
Yeah. I think as a whole, I would rate that game a 6.5 out of 10. The up until the end was super good. Was an 8 out of 10. The ending though was low. 5 out of 10.
we are like that is I was right there. That is I was
Yeah.
I can I just say when we were starting this conversation when you said inside and I like that was gonna be your game and all this other stuff, I was like, dude, I am gonna be in for a world of hurt when I say that this game is a 6.5 to me. Because especially with how high you guys were at the first half, I was like,
Mhm.
they've never played Limbo. I was like, so there's a good chance that they're gonna come out of this and being like, yeah, the game's great. 8 out of 10, 8.5, and I'm gonna be like 6.5, and you guys are both gonna be like, "Did you fucking asshole?" And for you to say 6.5, I'm fantastic.
For a game whose art and everything
Yep.
like that and story is all about interpretation, like you fucked it up. Like outside the puzzles, that's the game. Like it's not super overly artistic. Like they're like, oh, this looks amazing. It looks fine. It looks pretty for the artistic value that they chose to do and go for it. But that ending just fucking dropped it. I would have said probably good 8, maybe 7.5 if the ending was like decent or just fine. But when they flubbed it, it's like it just chunked it down for me.
Yep. So
For sure.
it was that. Hopefully some of you had a chance to play it before we
Fun
talked
game,
about it. I would
yeah.
love to hear anybody's thoughts if you had played it in the past, what you thought of the end of it. Preston, what are we playing next?
I am bringing it to the table. It's my game. And of course, the first one I'm going to bring is a Star Wars game. So,
Of course.
I have chose the Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 to play through. So the second one, which could be a little back and forth. It was like indecisive as far as like if people liked it or didn't like it. I liked it.
Are you sure you don't want to go back and play the first one first?
I thought about that, but I thought you guys both played and beat the first one.
I did. I just wanted an excuse.
Yeah, I played the
to
first
do
one.
The Death Star thing again.
Oh yeah, trust me. I was thinking the first one at the beginning, but then I'm like, if we're gonna play either of these, we should play the second one because A, it's shorter. B, I know not both of you did not finish this one, right?
I never
I did not
played
play the second one. Nope.
So you know
Nope,
you played it,
just
and
first one.
it fits what we were doing with this video game book club. One of these days we'll get to a point where we're just gonna play games that we played before, or games that none of us have played. But right now we're usually trying to bring something that's new to the table for everybody outside that person who brings it. So it'll be
My
fun.
next game is going to be one that I don't think none of us have played, and I haven't played it either.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a recap of the first one for everybody, so that's gonna be a fun little storytelling part. And then there's a lot of story about this game as far as like the production and what went into it, what happened. Obviously, first one was a big winner, and of course, LucasArts was like, "Give me more money, do one next year,"
Should we?
and then we got that.
Can we? Would it be worth it if there's enough there? Because I'm actually very interested in that. I don't know anything about that side of it. Should we do an episode 0 where you give the backstory, not only the story from the first game, but then the backstory of what led into
We can, if you want.
this game?
We'll talk about something on the side. I can take this out, but I was possibly thinking about doing since we're halfway through the year, doing what are our current top 5 games of the year as far as a side quest episode. And then maybe I can do episode 0 within that episode of here's the story of the first game, here's what led into making of the second one and the trials and tribulations, and then it would be off to the races with the sequel.
I think you
Yeah.
should look and see how much is there. Because
Yeah.
The game?
No, I meant like how
the
much
story.
is there as far
Story,
as the story.
okay.
Like, you recapping plus everything that leads it. If there's enough there, I think it deserves its own episode.
Okay. You'll find
Might
out
be
on the
good for
next
listeners
episode.
and viewers. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
then Preston, since I know, do we want to tell people ahead of time how many parts this is going to
Yes,
be?
so the
into?
first part we're going to do, and I got into 3 parts, breaking it down by like essentially stages, if you will. So I'm not going to say what the other parts are until we kind of get to where it starts off at. But the first 2 parts are going to be, you're going to play all of, like the first section is Camino, and the second part is a place called Cato Nemoria. And then as soon as you finish that and you get to the third area, or you get about to get to the third area, that's where we're going to stop for part 2. So just those 2 first levels as far as like areas, and then all the levels in between, because I think there's like 3 sections of Camino, and there's like, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections of Cato. So, and then that would be a good stopping point. It's just around 2-ish hours, maybe a little less, depending on how much stuff you want to find, because this is where you would find lightsaber crystals and points that you can upgrade with, things of that nature. And if you want, there are a couple cheat codes to unlock some outfits. If you want to, like, there's some as far as like you can be silly and get like just Boba Fett. You can be running around Boba Fett with a lightsaber, or like there's like experimental like Jedi armor in there you can attach to him. It looks pretty cool if you just want some flavor. I'll send that to you guys later on. Yeah, other than that, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's playing ourselves. I've been recently playing Star Wars Doom. Guess what we're gonna play next episode? Star Wars God of War, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
Cool. I'm excited to dive into that game. Yeah, because I beat
fun.
the first one, but I never played the second one at all.
Yeah, it's fun.
So-
It looks. I remember it looking great. We'll see how it looks nowadays.
We will see. All right, everybody. Well, that's been another episode of The Testing Room. Thank you for hanging out with us for another week. Do we have any news before we go? Like, do we have any updates for anything before we go?
Nope, just the usuals on
Nope.
Twitch. Sundays and Wednesdays. Come hang out, Snap. Come hang
Oh.
out and play some Star Wars on Wednesday nights.
Awesome. All right. Sounds good, everybody. Thank you. Preston.
Hit it!
This has been The Testing Room. Music by @DamienCrow on Instagram, logo and art by @RavePet. Interact with us on Instagram and Twitter @TestingRoomPod, or email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and all of your favorite podcasting apps, and make sure to share us with your friends. Thanks, and see you next time.